No, yeah, definitely. And I feel like this next fight we're going to be talking about, I feel like it's a little bit more tricky to pick a winner in this matchup. You know, Brandon Royval versus Alexandre Pantoja, the next fight on our list. I mean, talk about some kind of fresh air in the flyweight division. You know, you look at the flyweight division right now, coming off maybe what's the first fight that doesn't have the names Davison Figueiredo or Brandon Moreno attached to it over the past couple of years or so. You know, every title fight interim or for gold in the past, you know, I want to say 3 or 4 years, it's been having a guy, either Davison Figueiredo or Brandon Moreno. And this matchup is everything I think we want to see as fans. It's a fun fight, a rematch of the first bout that they had. Alexandre Pantoja, probably one of the most well-rounded fighters on the planet, in my opinion right now, can really strike really nicely. His grappling is next level, and Brandon Moreno, just as unorthodox and unconventional of a boxer as they come. Talk to me a little bit about your thoughts on this matchup and maybe what excites you and who you got.
I was looking the first fight this week, and I think like if you see the first round was like a, a high, like how say this, like high quality grappling, because we see how Pantoja takes his back, but Brandon Royval defends pretty well, take the leg, I think it's gonna be like all the fights in this division is gonna be high pace. It's gonna be, my prediction can be like hands down, like it's gonna be not gonna be to the decision. It's gonna be another finish like in the first fight. So it's tricky. It's tricky to take somebody, but I think like in one moment in the second round, Royval got the fight. Got the moment for finish and stand up the fight against Pantoja. So I think Royval is gonna take this fight. What do you think?
Honestly, you know, I'm kind of at an impasse here because while I'm a really big fan of Brandon Royval, you know, one of my favorite fighters on the scene is somebody I like to consider a good acquaintance I've made in this space. You know, it goes without saying, I feel like right now the grappling advantage clearly lies with Pantoja. You look at this fight on paper, you know, Brandon Royval's got that tricky, unorthodox, unconventional boxing style. You look at the last fight against Nicolau, you know, leading with a fake and then going up high for the knee and finishing with the right hand. You know, he's got a really funky style of boxing, and I feel like that plays an advantage, but also a disadvantage because that leaves him very much so open for the takedown threat. And I feel like Pantoja on the ground, he's a little bit more measured and poised because he doesn't really force anything. He kind of works with what his opponent's given, and I feel like he just works with what he has, but also I think a part that could be really frustrating for Pantoja is Brandon's style, because if you look at the Figueiredo fight, Pantoja versus Figueiredo, Figueiredo wasn't committing on the strikes. He was going in, maybe putting in 1-2, backing up, letting Pantoja press forward, and Figueiredo was getting shots off there. I feel like if Brandon really plays his cards right and doesn't fully commit at times, that could frustrate Pantoja a lot and be able to bring the action out of him, and Brandon could look to counter or something, or set up a knee or set up a kick. I feel like that's something that really isn't being talked about enough, is Brandon frustrating Pantoja early by getting off shots and landing where Pantoja doesn't expect him to. Either way, like you mentioned, I definitely agree. I don't think this goes the distance, but the two most common ways I see this fight going is either Royval by, decision, or Pantoja by submission. Those are the only two ways I really feel like this fight could go. But regardless, it's one of those fights that from bell to bell, both guys are going to be giving it their all.
Of course, mate. I think that it's gonna be a finish 100%.
Si te ha gustado este video predicción, no olvides dejar un like, así como suscribirte al canal para más contenido del deporte. También visitar el link en la descripción y en los comentarios que dejaré ahí, donde podrán ver toda esta colaboración que hice con el canal de The Fight Wave, un canal y una cuenta en Instagram que les recomiendo, así como también seguir @las8esquinas, mi página en Instagram y en TikTok, donde subo los mejores memes y los mejores reels que tienen que ver con este hermoso deporte.